Hey guys, Saf here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and in today's video I want to showcase a particular champion that is very good for unlocking some of the stages that are required for you to get into Soulcross. He can solo pretty comfortably or duo with another champion to be able to get through some very tricky Plagueholme stages that are sort of gatekeeping your progress into Soulcross. I have been working on some more champions in the meantime for Amius teams. I'm currently running masteries on a bunch of them to try and get them up and geared up. You know, Soulcross has finally got me motivated to try and get a lot of Minotaur done, so I've been doing about 7 or 8 different champion masteries over the last sort of week and a half. I have completed a lot of Sintranos. So there will be more videos, not just the one-shot Fushan. I'm trying to build some other options. That doesn't necessarily include Cold Heart or Venom Mage, because I've seen a lot of teams go out there with those, and also doesn't include Chronum. I will have a Chronum guide coming soon. I have him in my portal ready to summon tomorrow. I'm going to be summoning him alongside Jetney, alongside all of my epic champions, and I'm getting Tormin. So tomorrow there's going to be a very big sort of, I'm sitting on basically 2,500 champion chase points before we even get started. I do worry that the champion chase points might get inflated though, because people, because Playroom know that some people may have held their Tormin for this moment. Now, if you are going for the champion chase event as well tomorrow, if you're doing the fusion like me, there is a little cheat, and I don't know if it's still going to work because it's already in the mailbox, but there's a promo code that gives you a Giscard the Sigiled. So you can actually get yourself 250 bonus points if you haven't claimed that promo code. Now that promo code is Sintranos 2023. So all you'd have to do is go over here, go into promo codes, enter Sintranos 2023, and that will give you a free 250 champion chase points if you haven't already done that. You can see I did that yesterday whilst not really thinking about it. But the champion I want to talk about is Akemtum. Now this champion is already a very powerful champion. You can see I got 2 of them here. One is 4-star and I got lucky with another 5-star soul. And Akemtum is a really cool hero. And the reason why he's quite unique is you get a speed aura in all battles, which is really nice to begin with. That just helps you set up your team. And he has this really cool unique passive where when you book it up to 100%, every time a poison is activated on an enemy, every enemy under Hex debuff also receives the same amount of damage. So it does 5% damage to all other enemies based on the initial target. So if the first target has 10,000 HP, then one poison is going to do 5% of that. So that means 500 damage is going to be placed on all enemies under Hex. Now what's different about this is it doesn't do poison damage, it does actual direct damage, almost as if he's attacking himself, which means the usual restrictions around debuff damage, such as HP burn, poisons, where things don't activate because they're a debuff, don't apply here. Things like War Master can apply from this passive Reflect. It doesn't apply from the poison initial damage, but the damage that the Hex component does when you attack hexed enemies, which means once you also apply War Master, you can apply things like stun set procs, other toxic sets. So if you want to run a toxic Akemtum and sort of poison the enemies and poison them by poisoning them, you can do that with toxic set. You can run things like provoke sets against it. You can run lots of different things. Now the build I'm going to show you is a very powerful solo build. We're building him in stun set, right? I've got him at the moment at around about 209 speed. He's probably in this build going to have to run with a partner because I'm going to need setup. Because what you need to do is you need to have Hex out on everyone, and then you need to have poisons. Now ideally you would bring another Hex champion like a Mithrala, and then you would set him up with the poisons, because what will happen then is once the enemy takes a turn, the poison will activate and you will start stunning everyone. Now I've also built him in a very specialist way in the defense tree. We've got him in War Master, and we also have Harvest Despair, because once you have stunned them, you then have a 60% chance of applying Leech. And remember what I said about the passive. The passive is dealing direct damage, which means normally if you poison someone, you don't heal from it. But because you're doing direct damage, you can. So essentially, you can run the passive to activate stun set. When you activate the stun set, it can also activate Harvest Despair, which will place Leech on the enemy, which means that when you attack further with your poisons, you're healing from the damage as well. So you're dealing damage from War Master activating all the time. You're healing from the fact that you're stunning them and also like applying Leech. And also you're crowd controlling them. It's incredibly powerful. Now, I haven't quite decided what blessing I want to apply to my 5-star just now. It's very difficult because you're limited based only on epic and below. At 6-star, things like Crushing Rend is automatically excluded. Incinerate's PvP only, so we ignore those. We also ignore Lethal Dose, even though it's quite good in terms of like poison effects, so it works with poison. it's not really going to work here because it's only in arena. Now, we could go Cruelty. That seems like the most universally acceptable one. We're not really scaling our attack value, so Phantom Touch doesn't really benefit unless you're going to put a lot of attack on him. I always ignore these Indomitable Spirit, Dark Resolves, and that they're just useless. Like, there's a 20% chance. I mean, damage will decrease if you're under CC. That could be quite powerful if you need to like keep yourself alive. I would just prefer Survival Instinct. If you're taking debuffs, you can just get yourself more turn meter. Honestly, I would suggest probably Cruelty is good. Heaven Cast is also quite good if you're bringing a Hex champion and all you're relying on is the A1 for the poisons. It does reduce your accuracy requirements quite a bit. So I'm going to leave it empty for now. Now, the stages that he works for in the Plagueholme is stage 6, which is actually a barrier into Soulcross, and then stage 21 also. Now, you can get through both without going through either of these stages. You can go P1, 2, 3 through the Dark Fae boss, 8, 13, 14, 15, 19, the 25, or the double boss, and then make your way past the Ice Golem. So you can dodge both of these stages. But if you want a quick route through to Soulcross, then P6 is the fastest way there. Now, you can see the way that I did it before. I was testing on stream. I'm going to do it with our new champion here. So you really want to bring someone who's got either Hex or Poison. I'm going to bring a Poisoner with this. I do have another Akemtum, but he will probably do too much damage to these waves because he is built for pure damage. Ideally, you want someone who can apply poisons consistently, or at least just set up the poisons, right? The Akemtum obviously can place poisons himself, but he needs that first setup to do it. So we're coming into the wave here right now, and the first thing you want to do is get Hex out on everyone. We need that setup. We also get some stuns as well. Get some poisons out. So every time a poison activates now, you can see the stun is going off there. The key thing for this wave is you really want to stun that Brogni so he can't just cleanse it. You also want the Morley to die so we don't get a revive. Because the Brogni does cause a lot of problems here if that kind of ruins our strategy. So now we're pretty much just trying to kill the team before they kill us, because of the block debuffs. Now, the key thing is when you get to wave 2, you need all your abilities back up again. So we can get that Hex back out. We can get the poison back out. And I'll slow it down here. You'll see what I mean by the damage output. Look at all the damage numbers that are going through. We're not getting much luck with the stuns at all in this run. But it's okay because we've done a significant amount of damage. As long as we don't lose him, he is healing up. And you can see that actually we're clearing the wave very fast. We're doing so much damage that probably we haven't got our rotation back. We do luckily have our skills back here. Hex goes back out. Poison goes back out. And then the damage will just come in. And he's healing every single time. We got a bit unlucky there that we just took a bit too much damage on wave 2 because we didn't get any stun activations. So it will take a bit of RNG sometimes. And I would suggest that my build is not significantly good enough for this because he's only at 209 speed. And I haven't really rebuilt him. I just threw in a stun set that I had available to him. He's not even, like, the artifacts are not even fleshed out. You know, you can make him be healthier, a bit more tankier. So there we go, the damage is going to come through. You can see Akemtum is top damage dealing, even though he didn't do any damage to the final wave. Akemtum here at 5-star, you can see he's only got 2,000 defense, 35k HP, 209 speed, and 70% crit rate. You don't need crit rate on him. You don't need attack on him, right? The damage is all coming from War Master and the poison percentage. So really all you need is survivability. If you can put another 1,000 defense on him, another 20,000 HP or whatever, or 10,000 HP, build up his tankiness by actually giving him gear that is level 16, right? He's in the most basic form possible. Yes, he's a 5-star. Yes, that would give him stats, but I technically haven't activated any of his 5-star awakening, right? This is as if I've got a level 57 unawakened hero because I haven't put the blessing on. You only get the stats once you put the blessing on. So it's as really weak gear as possible. So there you go, guys. A quick way to get through some of the difficult stages in here. There are lots of hidden powerful champions that I've been finding that I've not really used that are in my roster that actually are quite important for some of these waves. Right now, for me, I think the king of Sintranos is Islin. Islin and Cillian the Lucky, because you'll see it right now, Islin just cannot die on a lot of these boss stages. He's very good for dealing with Borgoth. He's got a shield. Here, it's a bit frustrating because the spider is available, so the spider will eventually scale to infinity. You don't really have enough damage. But you can see right now, he just will never die. He can never take enough damage from any of the bosses. This is in Plagueholme, so these bosses are reasonably damaging. That he can just tank, and he can be a basis for every team that he's in, and he's in a lot of big stages right now. So Strategos Islin, for me, is an absolute monster of a carry. He does have some decent damage as well when you put the buff up, give him defense buff. You can see the counterattack here. He's immune at the moment because I've got him in some resistance. you can just build him properly and he won't be able to be killed. He can heal himself back more than the damage he takes. The other hero that I'm seeing come up a lot is Killian the Lucky, because actually he's got incredible amounts of turn meter and wave control. He's in a lot of waves, especially in Soulcross. I think one of the waves that I haven't completed yet is because I need to put masteries on him, is going to be carried pretty much by this wave, Killian the Lucky. We've got Rotuses and Siphi. What Killian the Lucky is very good for is he's going to get this passive, which hopefully will help push him along, get some bonus crit rate. You can't really choose what you want, but I did one wave with him and I kept getting block damage and it was absolutely clutch. But what you get is an A1, when you book it, is a 50% chance of applying decreased speed for each hit, and each hit also has a 50% chance of stealing 30% of the target's turn meter, which is crazy because it's a steal. So it's essentially, if you get lucky both times, he steals 60%. So you're doing a 60% turn meter drop and gaining 60% turn meter, which means you get back around to his 3-turn cooldown on the A3, which is a 2-turn stun, and another 50% chance of stealing turn meter. You also have an AoE block active skills. Now you can't stop that on the Siphi Rotus wave. That will be a bit of a problem. But in terms of just like controlling some of the monsters, like maybe if we can permanently control the turn meter of Siphi, that's a big deal. So he's going to be absolutely carry for this stage, and he is for a number of them. So what I really like about Sintranos so far is these waves are, these floors are discovering champions that I've had in my vault. They're actually really, really good, and I didn't even realize how powerful they are. So anyway, guys, that is a breakdown on how you can build Akemtum to effectively manage the wave controls on his own and do loads of damage. You can basically build a pseudo damage dealer, tanky, without actually building any damage on him, without needing Savage Crow, without needing decreased defense, without needing weaken. All of these effects just will work naturally with just having War Master, Stun Set, a Poison Out, and Hex on those targets. You have those 4 conditions and Harvest Despair, you will stay alive forever. Let me know in the comments below, have you found any particular champions that you are finding is super hard carrying certain floors in Sintranos? I'm going to try and do guides covering specific champions that I think are worth investing in. I am working on a list of coverage of champions, which champions cover the most amount of floors so that people can plan upgrades to their roster, because that's pretty much what Sintranos is all about, upgrading your roster to fill the gaps that you don't have. The only downside is in a month's time it's going to change all over and we'll have to start the process again. So very expensive area to play the game. Let me know in the comments below, guys, and I will catch you in the next video.